All right, golden. Well, we got things live streamed, so we have people all over the 4-state area. We've got it being recorded too, so we'll have this for people to be able to go back and look at. But I'm excited to officially kick off our Leadership Academy. And when I think about the Leadership Academy, it really is the culmination of a lot of hard work that you guys put into the summer, and then now the launch pad for your next level version of growing and taking yourself to the next stage in your life. And we will talk a lot about business topics. We're going to talk a lot about professional topics to help you become a better leader, to become a better entrepreneur, to become a better med student, to become a better business student, to become a just a better badass, right, in the professional world. But we're also going to talk about some personal growth topics. In fact, today we're gonna kick it off with some personal growth topics and talk a little bit about relationship management. But before we get into relationship management, having healthy and lasting relationships, we're gonna do some self-awareness. And I'm excited to kind of do a little exercise today with you guys on that, and then we're going to weave in some financial growth into the program as well. And so it's going to be professional, personal, and financial growth. That is what the Leadership Academy is really all about. For those that have already been through this once, I'm going to let you know I am dedicated to making this be the absolute best Leadership Academy I've ever run. And I hope that in 1 year's time, I say that again. Right. In fact, if I don't say that 1 year from now, you might want to remind me, hey, Trey, you didn't say it this year. And that's not a good thing, because that means that I'm not growing as a leader. And in business and in life, you're either green and growing or you're brown and dying. Right. So we are definitely green and growing here as a division and as a culture. It's so exciting to see everybody being together in one place, whether it be in person or on a Zoom feed. We're together at this collectively, and so we're going to be in different time zones. We're going to have people that are 12 hours ahead of us, and 8 hours ahead of us, and 6 hours ahead of us, which is going to be crazy. So at 5 p.m. on Wednesday, there's going to be people hopping on at like almost noon on Wednesday. There's also going to be people hopping on Thursday, technically, because there'll be hours and hours ahead of us, which is so funky and weird to think about. But we got a guy hopping in from Shanghai, is going to be joining us from China for Leadership Academy. I hope that China allows him to even download Zoom. I'm a little worried that maybe he won't be able to download Zoom, but yeah, so it's epic, guys. This is international now. First time we've ever had TLA be international. So I am fired up about that. So without any further ado, I'm just going to remind you of what the Leadership Academy standards are all about. Talk about how to get the most out of this session. And then we're going to dig into some of the growth topics. So in order to really get the most out of this event, the most out of this broadcast, the most out of this meeting, it's really important that you're in the right place. And what I mean by being in the right place, it's both physically, mentally, emotionally, logistically, right? It's hard to get a lot out of these meetings if, you're for lack of a better word, sitting outside of an office staring at a screen, right? And it is just this. It's tough, right? It's hard if you're in a vehicle driving. It's damn near impossible to get much out of this meeting if you're laying in bed, right, and trying to apply some of this stuff. If you're listening to it while you're working out, again, same thing. Will you retain some of it? Sure. But it's not going to be the same as being fully engaged, fully involved. So 100% engaged means you're in front of the screen, ready to rock. You're sitting here in person with other people, ready to rock, because we're going to do some exercises, both self-reflection and some pair sharing exercises. We're going to be utilizing WhatsApp to send back feedback for those of you that don't have somebody right next to you that you can pair share with, so that way you can bounce things off of, right? But so being engaged, being able to take tons of notes, having something ideally, guys, where you can keep things with you, and keep a running list. So having a notes tab in your computer, having a 3-ring binder where you can take notes in and just kind of be able to reference back. The goal is that if you do a little bit at a time over the course of several months, it creates drastic differences. One of my fellow division managers shared recently that he's lost over 25 pounds in preparation for his wedding. And it was really kind of cool to hear him talk about that. And what he mentioned is that when he worked with his trainer, the trainer mentioned that it wasn't an all or nothing type program, and that's kind of how this individual was built to operate. Meaning he was either 100% in or 100% out. Meaning like it was like, if I'm going to do something, I have to be like 100% committed. Otherwise, I'm not going to do it at all. That's how his diets were. That's how his workout plans were. And I've even had individuals mention that to me. It's like, oh, if I'm going to do something, I need to 100% commit to one thing. Well, the problem with that is, guys, that if you commit yourself 100% to one thing, then you leave a very empty, lonely life, right? I asked this individual, I said, well, do you ever one day want to be married? It's like, okay, well then, how are you going to be married if you have a job? Doesn't really work if you only commit to one thing, right? It's like, are you going to have children? Well, how are you going to have children if you're also married, right? And you can't work, not if you're going to commit yourself to your kids. And are you going to let yourself go financially? You're going to let yourself go physically, energy-wise? Because if you're committing 100% only to one thing, then nothing gets done outside of that one thing. And that's just not a very healthy way to live. So if you do little bits at a time, though, and you do 80% of what you're capable of, you find yourself being able to handle a lot more than you ever realized. And so that's why these Leadership Academy segments are broken up. And over the course of 8 months, you're gonna look at it and be like, holy shit, I've learned so much. Some of you guys have learned a ton just since you started selling Cutco, and you've only been doing it for a couple months. And guys, if you feel like you've learned a lot just in a couple months, wait till you've run your own office. And then you'll be like, damn, that was nothing. Because I learned a lot, wait till you've gone through a Vector Summer as a manager, as an assistant, or as a branch, or as a PSM or a DOM or a district manager. You learn so much. And it's only through challenging times that we really learn much in anything. We don't learn by taking things when things are easy. So yes, it is a little bit of a sacrifice. Yes, it is a little bit commitment to being here for these events, but it's designed to help you to become a better version of yourself. And for those of you that are excellent at any sport, there's the reason you get better isn't because you just dive in one time for like a week and all of a sudden now you're amazing. I tried that with golf. It doesn't really work that way. I still am terrible, at golf. But yet for 1 week, last fall and spring, I was at the course for like 6-7 hours a day. I played 18, then I hit a bunch of balls, and I'm like, oh, I'm getting better. And by the end of that week, I'm like, dude, I've got this. It's an easy game. I know my swing. Then I went a week without being able to get the course because I was traveling. I came back and I was terrible. It's the incremental process of getting a little bit better. David Frank and I were fortunate enough to go play at a very prestigious course here in Atlanta called Peachtree Golf Club, right? It's ranked number 2 in Georgia, number 50 in the world currently. Super exclusive. There's less members of this golf course than there are at Augusta National. Give you an example. Yeah. The number 3 course in Georgia is East Lake, right? Which is very prestigious for those that golf. It's where they hold a lot of majors and PGA championships and other stuff at it, right? This was the course with members that was built because they thought that private course was too crowded. So it's like one of those type places, right? where you pull up and there's nobody there, right? There's not even a sign. I accidentally pulled in the exit, right? Kind of wrapping around. They don't have tea times, which think of it like this, guys. Imagine going into a doctor's office and not having to have a doctor's appointment. It's kind of like that. That's how, for those that don't golf, that's kind of the same like extreme like randomness that would be like, right? Or like, you know, having a I'm trying to get a private time with the president or whatever, not having to set an appointment. You just kind of walk in, right? You know, like it just doesn't really happen, you know. But this course has it because there's so few members. So we got a chance to play. And what was funny is the rep that we went with, who is a member there, whose family's a member there, he played lights out. You know, this is an individual that David was better than just a couple of months ago. But by just practicing a little bit, and doing it consistently, ended up creating a pretty noticeable gap in playability level at that moment in time. You know, took some money from me, which he was definitely going to take money from me. It wasn't a question. I felt bad because he got me on for free. So I needed to give him money somehow, you know? So he took some money from me, $11, you know, he took some money from David, a little more than $11. But what was funny was that little bit of difference just working gets you so much better. For those of you that do martial art, you'll notice it. For those of you that play basketball, you'll notice it. For those of you that work out, if you do something consistently for a couple of weeks in a row, you start to notice a difference. And then over the course of a year, you can really drastically change yourself. And in our business, it tends to happen a little bit quicker. And so that's what I love about our leadership academy program is it's not a massive investment of time, an hour a week with a little bit of work on your own, but it is important that you really prioritize that hour. Because if you do it and you get on this and then you take it and then you apply it, you're going to end up being in a completely different place in 8 months, 9 months time, you know. A lot of you guys have mentioned that Vector has changed you for the better. Well, the reason it does change you for the better is because it forces you to get out of your comfort zone a little bit. It forces you to look inwardly a little bit. It forces you to go to places that maybe you're not normally fired up about having to do it. But by doing it, it causes you to become better. You know, it's that discomfort zone where real growth occurs. Okay. So, so the two personal growth topics that we're going to dig into today are going to be on time management and then a little bit of some self-awareness. And we're going to do a little test. And many of you guys have already taken this test, but we're going to do it again to see where you come up. It'll be interesting to see if it's the exact same. So for those of you who've taken the test, do not look at the test, but I do want you to retake it. Okay, so here we go. The first thing is time management. So let's talk a little bit about time management and ways of fitting everything in your schedule that really truly matters to you. Okay, so some of this stuff is kind of time management secrets of billionaires and how to eliminate fluff, eliminate waste, and to maximize your productivity throughout the day, the week, the month, everything else. And we've cut in there a little bit, but this is really more about how to just do it in general. And then we'll actually do this exercise collectively. So if you have a sheet of paper, I want to ask that you do, or something where you can kind of quadrant off on notes. Take a sheet of paper, take out a pen. I got a pen. I came prepared for TLA, a D. 2 pens. All right. So here's what I want you to do. Okay. So take out a sheet of paper. If you've got a planner, even better, right? Like if you got a planner that's got a blank sheet, even better. But take out a sheet of paper. See what most people do when they get a schedule, like such, right? They get it, and what they immediately do is they start doing what? What do you guys do?
Mark off where
You start putting shit in, right? And that's okay. That's not a bad way of doing things. You get it and you immediately take it, and we teach this even during advanced training, right? You put your prior obligations first, then you put your possible appointment times, then you put in your demo times, or our phone time, and then you put in your demo times. And that's a great basic way to manage your time, right? But super successful people, unfortunately, they don't have that luxury. Because what ends up happening with people that are really successful is they just have to get more stuff done in a shorter period of time. Okay. So what you do is, what successful people will do is, instead of saying, okay, what do I have time for? They say, what do I need to get done? All right. And so it's a task-driven schedule planning session versus a time-driven, because everybody has the same amount of time, but yet some people do a lot more with their time. And this was taught to me by my original, sales director. Now he's our region manager, Scott Dennis. Some of you guys already know, and I love this, but the question is, when's the last time you did it? So you take your sheet, you draw it into 4 quadrants, right? And at the top of the quadrants, you put the 4 things that matter to you, right? And the 4 things that matter for most of you probably at this moment in time, it's going to be school. And so this is what I did when I was in college. I used to do this. I put school, I put fun or personal. Okay. I put, Cutco. And then I put anything else. If there's like another big thing, like that is like a massive undertaking for you, you put that in, right? And so if there's not any big thing, then you can make it real simple and just do Cutco and then TLA, right? If you have something that's another thing, like let's say you've got school, fun, Cutco, and then you're also in, you play a sport, for example, at your college, or you play a sport at your school. That could be another massive thing that has a lot of stuff to do that needs to get done for it. If you're like the leader of the president of your fraternity or something, that may be there, right? So you'd put frat, right? Or sorority, but whatever it is, if there's 4 massive things that matter to you, you put that in there. For some of you guys, it may be if you're in a serious relationship, right? And when we talk about love languages here a little bit from now, your significant other, their love language may be quality time. And if that is the case, I would advise that you make that one of your things if you want to be in that relationship very long. Got to prioritize that. Now, for some of them, it may be gifts, which is kind of cool. You just buy them shit, And then, no, I'm kidding. Don't do that. But whatever else is big in your life, go ahead and put that in there, right? And guys, make sure this is something where the best version of you wants this, right? So for example, when you put down like your 4th one, right now, maybe something maybe your dating game, right? Like for some people, it's that's their sole focus. They're always thinking about who they're going to be dating next, right? Like they're constantly on Tinder and swiping and all, and whatever the hell you do, right? What are the other ones? I don't know. I'm too old. Bumble, Hinge, Grindr, all. What's that? FarmersOnly.com. So Christian Mingle. Okay, so J-Date, right? There's all of them, right? Okay, so for some of you guys, that is a problem, right? And you've got that as this big undertaking. For some of you guys, your 4th one should probably be, but you need to not have it be, social media. That occupies as much time as some of this other stuff does, right? So you probably need to not have that be, but for now, I'm just saying that, you divide it into the 4 quadrants. And then what you want to do is you want to go ahead and put down underneath of each category things that you'd like to get done during that time. So for example, underneath the school, put down all the things that you'd like to get done or need to get done for school. It's going to be a lot in some cases, right? That's okay. See, guys, that's what's good about this. When you do it free form this way, it's a little bit stressful, but what you're going to end up finding is that if you just list everything without any time-bound objectives, you'll find out what really truly matters. Okay, and so you start putting stuff down. Okay, what are some things that need to get done? Okay, what are some things with school that need to get done? You start listing them out. Okay, under fun and personal, is there anything that needs or would like to get done? Right. So like for example, if there's people that you'd really like to spend time with, put that down. If there's a family member that you'd really like to get a phone call with, you put that down. So again, this exercise is a fun exercise to do because again, if there was no time-bound constraints, you can just put down whatever you want, right? And sometimes it was kind of funny when I would do this sometimes in college, I would put down like there were certain spots that were really cool on certain nights. Restaurants, other places, right? So I'd list out those spots on those nights, and so I'd put down Bubba O'Malley's Tuesday, 80s night, right? I put down and there was like all these different cool spots where everybody would go hang out at, right? And I actually listed them out. So, hey, in the perfect world, where would I go? What would I do? What would be fun? What were some things? And so I list all that out. Okay. Then underneath of Cutco, is there a demo goal that needs to happen? How much money do you need to make? How much money would you like to make? You put that down. It's crazy how the universe kind of aligns to help you out when you're wanting to get something done. So maybe you put down, hey, I want to get 10 demos in this week. Or maybe it's like an income goal that you need to make. I'd like to make $500. But you list that out next. And what I love about our management team is they love helping people to come up with income goals if they need help with it. Okay. So just listing out some income goals that you'd like to achieve, listing out a demo goal. Maybe it's just a standard. Maybe you don't necessarily need any money, but it's like, what? This is just something that matters to me. I'd like to continue, like, for example, Grant, think about you. You got that sales streak going of 1K weeks. That's definitely something that you wouldn't want to miss. And be kind of cool. And there's different ways we can create it and craft it, make it happen, but you list that out. Okay. Then then you put down TLA, right? And underneath of TLA, maybe there's some stuff that you need to do there. Like there's going to be some assignments that will give 1 week kind of to the next that you just need. Oh, yeah, what do I need to do with TLA? Okay, cool. And again, it's simple things, but important stuff. Right? Okay. So you put down any TLA things that you've got down that need to get done, or observation that needs to happen, or that you'd like to do, Cutco management wise. Maybe there's a certain part of the business you'd like to improve on that you write down underneath of that. You know what? I'd really like to get better at this part. Okay. And what's cool is when you do it like this, guys, you'll find times to make some of this stuff work. Then if there's a fourth part of your life, right, you put down everything underneath of that. Right. So you put that down. If there's, like I know for me, I had, at one point it was demos and then office management, right? So like there's two separate things that needed to get done when I was PSM. In some cases it may be, maybe there's something that you're trying to do for charity, right? Like there's a big charity that you're involved in or in part of, but you put down everything there. So you've got your 4 quadrants, right? So you got school, you've got fun, you've got Cutco, and then you've got something else, which may be TLA. If you don't have anything else, it may be your sorority. It may be what? Religion. It may be your religion. Yeah, it could be church for sure, right? Or temple, right? And maybe that it's something more than just a one-time thing for you each week. Maybe it's like something that happens, periodically throughout the week, and you just need to make sure you're really involved and you're part of the youth group or something. So you put that down, right? Underneath the fun and personal, if you're trying to work out, you might want to put that in there. Other things that could go under personal would be things like if you need to get your oil changed, that could go under personal. You know, you need to get a haircut. You know, you can go buzz. Buzz cut makes it easy. You know, buzz cut makes it real easy, right? You just buzz it, you're good to go. You know, so put down fun, personal stuff, put down Cutco stuff. Now, once you start doing that, then you flip over and take a look at the actual planner itself. Then you take a look at the actual calendar, or you open it up, you open up your schedule, and you start looking at, okay, what's time bound that goes in there. Now I'll start adding in stuff, and then you start getting more creative with how to fit things in. And what I found, for me at least, that worked out really well is the things that really mattered, which were school, work, and, you know, if you're in a personal relationship, your personal relationship, the fun and the other stuff, I found ways to fit that in around the other things. Because, guys, I mean, I'm just going to tell you, yes, there's other things that matter, but I mean, you know, the big things that matter, you know, your faith, your relationship you're in, your job, and your school. All the other stuff, 5, 10, 15 years from now, it doesn't matter. You know, like, you know, because the great thing is if you're kicking ass here, it's going to set you up for bigger opportunities other places. If you're taking care of school, if you're in school, then, you know, then that's going to help. If you're not in school, then crush it wherever, right? You know, and that's the other cool thing is for some of you guys, it gives you less, which gives you bigger opportunities to explore other things, you know? And then, and the fun and personal stuff can be worked around. So, like, for example, if there were people I wanted to hang out with, but I wasn't dating them, and they didn't help me out with my job, and they didn't help me out with school, I fit them in where I could. So what that meant is, hey, there's a certain night that I wanted to hang out. Boom, I text them, invite them out there. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone with that, right? Or if I knew I could if I really wanted to meet up with them, I meet them up for coffee in the morning or something. Back then I didn't drink coffee. So I'd meet up with them for like water, you know, and like breakfast. You know, so it's pretty, yeah. When I was, no, seriously, in college, I did not drink coffee until we came out with Utopian. Damn, Utopian got me. But I didn't drink it. So, you know, I tell you another thing that I did though, I'd invite people to the gym. Hey, you know, let's work out together, you know, and it was something that was important to me. So I'd invite them in, we'd meet up, we'd get time. I'll tell you, you know, there's some of my best friends are people that were my workout buddies. And that was the only time we got was in the gym, just because our schedules are so crazy busy, you know. Could be golf, right? That could be something where, you know, something that matters to you. You want to hang out with certain friends. You invite people together for that. Now, again, the key is to make sure that you do it at a time where it doesn't get in the way of other things, right? So, like, doesn't get in the way of your school, doesn't get in the way of your demos here, doesn't get in the way of, you know, your personal relationship, right? Like, I do enjoy golfing. I do enjoy, you know, working out, but I could tell you right now that in my engagement with Caitlin, if I told her, hey, I know we're supposed to hang out tonight, but I'm just gonna go to the gym instead, that wouldn't be good for us, like, at all. And it would drive a wedge. And if it happened more than just once or twice, it would cause problems, you know? And so where ultimately I got to was, if I'm going to work out, I need to go early in the morning. Otherwise, I'm probably not going to get it done, you know? Because of all the other crap that I got going on that matters to me. So you find ways to put stuff in that does matter. You just find it and do it in a way where other things don't get in the way. So the other thing is, like, for example, I wouldn't book up to meet up with a friend, you know, during a Wednesday night team meeting, you know, because I knew I could hang out with my buddies Wednesday night after the team meeting, and it wasn't going to get in the way of my ability to still get both things done. You know, study time. I put study time in and around other things. You know, I could study at 11 o'clock at night. I could not study, or I could not do a demo at 11 o'clock at night. I couldn't go to our gym at 11 o'clock at night. They were closed. So what that meant, though, was that in certain weeks, because of what needed to get done, what needed to get studied, I'd have to cross out certain hangout sessions at certain places on certain evenings. Right? It's like, oh, I guess I'm not going there that night because I've got this. This matters a little bit more, so I cross it out. And I didn't feel guilty about it because it's like, you know what? I'm choosing to do that. Right? I put it down as something I'd like to do, but if it's not as important as something else, I'm making that choice. And I will say, if you feel a lot better when you do time management based on making a decision to do something versus regretting missing out on something, because you're choosing, again, what you're doing. It's like, okay, I got this option. This is a bigger deal for me. Okay. So when it comes to doing time management, do that exercise before you do the exercise of trying to just take out a schedule and just write things down. Because then what ends up happening is you end up realizing that you don't think you have enough time to do things that matter to you. In reality, we do. We always find time and make time for the things that are truly important to us. Okay? And the other thing that you'll end up finding is once you start putting all that stuff in that really matters to you, the time killers that end up taking the gaps, they don't happen anymore. So like the gaps of like playing video games or scrolling on Instagram for hours at a time throughout the course of a day when you add it all up, that just doesn't happen as much because you're prioritizing other things that do matter and do fulfill you and do make you happy, right? Anybody have any questions on that time management exercise there? Cool. Especially as we transition into the fall, guys, I think it's important to do that because everybody's got different schedules. The Vector office schedule mixes up a little bit, meaning, we're not in the office at 8 a.m. And so for those that aren't in school, guys, I will say, or even if you are in school, but you don't have a class at 8 in the morning, that's a great time for phone time. It was great back when we were doing pushes. It's great during school year. In fact, I would argue that it may even be better during the fall and spring at that 8 to 9:30 in the morning time range because, well, think about it. If people have kids, what do they have to be doing at that time? They got to be up. And most school starts by 8 or 9. There probably are some schools that start after 9, but I don't know of many. Not the younger schools, right? Elementary schools. Some of you guys went to high school where you started at 7 or 7:15. Jeez, ridiculous, right? That's just extreme, But here's what's crazy. You know what? What that means is for all those parents, 8 o'clock in the morning, 8:30 in the morning, that is the best time of their day. Why? Because their kids are out of their hair. It's awesome. It's amazing at that time. I'll tell you, I don't have kids yet. I've got puppies and damn, when the best sleep I get is when they're not with me, when the puppies aren't with me, So like when Caitlin and I are traveling, much better sleep than when we're at home. Because otherwise what happens, Bella's like right on my face. I hadn't seen Bella in a couple days last night. Laid down in bed. Caitlin couldn't even hug me. Bella was like wedged. Like literally both of us had to pick her up and move her. And then Caitlin had to quickly crawl to get there before Bella wedged up against me again. And literally laid on top of her to then get onto me again. Okay? Now, you guys as human beings aren't that annoying to your parents, but it's probably pretty damn close, right? And you're definitely more of a burden than a puppy just trying to cuddle, right? So things like making sure that you don't forget your lunchbox, making sure the kids don't forget their after school sporting good equipment or their musical instrument or whatever else they need to get out the door, making sure that, they're on school at time. So that 8:30 to 9:30 in the morning time during the school year is killer. So that may be your secret weapon for phone times this fall and spring. If you have class starts at 9, just get up a little bit earlier. You know, make a couple calls. You're up anyway, right? You know, or maybe your class starts at 10. Well, get up and go to the gym. Blend things in so that it allows you to get things done that matter to you where they're back to back to back instead of having these big gaps. Because what I've noticed is my buddies that when they went home from college, they would go to class and then come home and take a nap for an extended period of time. What ended up happening with those individuals is they got nothing done during the day. And they were always the most stressed out too, which once they were more stressed out, guess what that meant they needed to do more of? Take a nap. And so because they were so stressed out, they started napping again. And then, you know, it was just like this vicious cycle they got themselves into. So get creative with finding ways to build things in and around your schedule so that everything can get done. You know? So that's kind of a little time management for the fall that I think can really help you take it to the next level. With regards to relationship and self-awareness, because part of being a great leader is having great relationships, and some of it's personal relationships, some of it is business relationships. But in either situation, the understanding of appreciation, affection, make people feel welcomed and loved, right? That's important, okay? And so we're going to do a little test called the 5 love language test, right? And so I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about the love languages and then, have you guys take the test right when we get done today. And then once you've taken the test, screenshot your results and put it in the WhatsApp, okay? Because it's good to have. And if you've already taken it, I want you to take it again because you may have changed. You may not have, but you may have. And over time, what you'll find is that based on, amazing things that happen or based on traumatic things that happen, it can make slight adjustments, okay? There may be certain things that mean a lot to you at one point in your life that as you mature and get older, mean less to you. And there may be other things that matter a whole lot to you that as you get older becomes even more stubborn in its resolve towards that being a big deal for you, okay? So, so the 5 love languages for those that have taken the test before, and we're going to talk about, I'm going to send you guys a video for next week on how to implement it a little bit deeper in the business model. But the 5 love languages consist of such. They consist of quality time, which is spending time with people. And as a leader, as a parent, as a coach, as a significant other, if quality time is important to you or important to your significant other, if it's important to you, you need to make sure you let them know. If you can sense that it's important to your significant other, then it's really important that you prioritize. If you have subordinates or you have coworkers or you have superiors that you know that quality time is big for them, it's important that you honor that and give that to them, which is just basically spending time where you're focused and zoned in. I think a lot of times people think, oh, quality time means that I have to be around this person all the time. That's not necessarily true. Anybody that is like that is psycho, right? Where like if they can't function unless they are around you, that is not a healthy relationship. That is a dangerous relationship, okay? That can lead to, kidnapping and, handcuffing to beds and no. You got to get your head out. So, if you ever seen the movie Misery, there's a movie called Misery. It's a Stephen King novel and a film where she literally handcuffs this author that she's obsessed with to a bed, puts a 2x4 between his ankles and breaks his ankles with a sledgehammer. Quality time was a big deal for her and for this author, right? That's what's that? Misery. And that is exactly what those type of relationships can be, right? So that we're not talking that they can't function without them. What quality time means is the time spent with someone is important and quality, right? It's focused. So something subtle, right? Like if you could tell, like you're spending another quality time is a big deal when you're at dinner, putting away your phone. What's that? It is, right? Not when you're talking, not being on your phone. I had one of our 10-year almost veteran of TLAs, Michael Mullins, was in a relationship, and he was in a relationship with somebody who quality time was like theirs with a bullet, like numero uno, and for him it was dead last. And so, and I said, hey, man, here's the reality. If you're going to be in this long relationship long term, you're going to have to compromise. And most importantly, what that means is that phone on that scroll needs to not happen when you're around her, right? Because literally that was his MO. He was always on Instagram, always on his phone, always looking up something on ESPN. His phone was constantly dinging with notifications from different sports teams he was following, right? And it caused issues. It caused challenges. So you got to make sure the time spent is quality there. And the next one is acts of service. Acts of service, guys, is where you're doing things for somebody. Right? What's that? The dishes. If you see somebody carrying much stuff, hey, do you need help? Right? And if somebody helps with that, or and what you'll notice is the ones who naturally do this, that's probably high on their list. Meaning like where you tend to naturally gravitate towards what you are anyway. And so you offer what you experience. So if somebody is constantly offering something, that's probably one of their love languages. That's also how they show appreciation. So just notice that too, where if somebody's constantly, hey, do you need help with that? Do you need help with that? If you want to show them that you appreciate them, offer it back. Mimic what they give, right? So acts of service, helping people with the dishes, helping people carry things, helping get somebody organized when they walk into a team meeting real quick. Cutting up rope and leather, right? It's another simplified version of this. Grabbing the door for somebody. All of these are considered acts of service. Next one is words of affirmation. Right? And words of affirmation, guys, is one that's, kind words, being told that they're awesome, right? And being sincere, right? Not the fake, oh, you're awesome. You're awesome. You're awesome. You're so awesome, right? That it eventually feels fake, right? But showing that you care, right? Words of affirmation can be written. They can be texted. They don't have to be audible, right? I think sometimes we're like, oh, yeah. Always tell somebody, no, sometimes just, hey, I just wanted to let you know you're amazing, right? I wanted to let you know you're awesome, right? And you say that to somebody, that means a lot. So like my best friend, Jeff Gamboa, big words of affirmation guy, so just, so it's great, like, whereas for me, words of affirmation is not very high. And I know that surprises a lot of you. And then I don't always remind people how awesome they are. But that is something that it's just not my strength, right? It's not high on my list. And so it's funny because like I just got a text message from him today. So let's see here. Let me give you an example of this. This was kind of funny. So he goes, hey, real quick before I forget, could you please reach out to your mom and see if she received the wedding invitation check? Yeah, she got it. Good. We couldn't imagine our wedding without them there. And he's like going on like on this. I'm like, word. He's probably getting that like, word. What the hell? Like he's like all excited. And I am excited. I'm excited that my mom is going to his wedding and I am fired up. But, it's like, sounds good. Like not, and so he's probably getting this like, the heck, man, so I probably should send something nicer than that back. But the whole idea is, right, like for people that have words of affirmation being really high, on their list, just going out of your way. If you're in a relationship with somebody, make sure to take the time to tell them you love them, right? Just constantly remembering to do that is really important. Okay. So words of affirmation. Next one is receiving gifts, right? And gifts, I mean, it doesn't have to be this elaborate, extravagant gift. It doesn't, I think sometimes people think that oh, they're receiving gifts. Oh, I always give my buddy Ben, I always give him grief because his wife receiving gifts is her number one with a bullet. And so I'm like, dang, dude, sucks to be you, because every year, Christmas, birthday, boom, it can't be a half-assed gift, right? And it doesn't have to be expensive. And I kind of was mentioning, man, it's gonna be expensive. It's not really that. It's the thought. It's about giving something, right? If somebody's got receiving gifts high on their list, a souvenir for them means a lot more than it would for somebody else. When you travel and go abroad or go, to a trip, and you go do that, just picking something up and giving it to them. I mean, it's important, And here's the thing. I think sometimes, guys, people hear this. It's like, oh, well, you're doing this. You're trying to do this to manipulate. It's like, absolutely not. See, sometimes people think that, though. It's like, oh, so and I've seen this happen, right? In fact, I saw this happen in one of the in that relationship I mentioned with Michael, right? Where she's like, oh, you're just doing this because quality time is big for me. It's like, yeah, right? Kind of the point. I mean, I cannot, and that's and in knowing him, and that's exactly what he did say. Well, I could just not, and that did not go over well either. But it's like, yeah, absolutely. I know this is important to you, so I want to honor that, right? So for now, here's what you don't do. You don't do, hey, we're spending time. It's quality time. Look at this. Isn't this great? Or hey, I just held that door for you. Back to service. No, you don't do that either, because that is you view manipulatively, right? But it's just going out of your way to show affection and to show appreciation. That's what we're talking about here. Okay. The last one is physical touch, right? And physical touch is one of those ones that it is important that in business you do it the right way. Okay. And I say that, and it usually gets a couple snickers, and I get that, right? But there are ways that you could show affection, appreciation that doesn't involve a full body hug and a crotch bump every time you see somebody, right? If you've ever watched the Chicago Cubs baseball team, you can look it up. The Chicago Cubs had a celebration that they did every time one of them would score a run, where they would literally bump crotches, right? Boom, And yeah, it's a little strange, a little much, right? But I guarantee you it was started by somebody on that team who had physical touch very high on his list, right? Because I guarantee you it was not the person who thought receiving gifts was the better way to handle it, right? So maybe, all right, Kate, mine out of gutter. All right, so the point is, right, is that if physical, for some people, physical touch is a big deal. For me, it's a big deal. That's my number one. And yep. And you guys that have been around in the organization, it's the elbows, it's the fist bumps, it's the high fives, it's the shake your shoulder if you're not phone jamming, it's the rub your head if you're not doing the thing, right? I mean, that is me. Okay. But here's the thing, everybody is different in how they operate and they receive things. So you just got to be okay. You just need to be careful with that one. In fact, most books that you'll read that talk about love language in the workplace, they kind of address it very quickly, very briefly, because especially workplace conduct, it's important that it's appropriate. Okay. And so that's what we're referring to there. But especially in relationships, right? You know, if you're in a personal relationship and somebody has physical touch is very high on their list, just something subtle, right? Like as you're sitting there holding their hand, you know, versus not holding their hand, being in close proximity where you're working on stuff, but you're around each other, right? So that could be like, you're not actually touching each other, but you're near each other while you're working on stuff, work related, right? And and so guys, this is an important thing. And if you know your significant other's love language, it enables you to be a better significant other. If you know your coworker's love language, it helps you to understand why they are the way they are. And if you're managing and leading a group of individuals and you know their love language, it enables you to be able to better work with them, to show appreciation. For example, if like physical touch may be really low for somebody. And so, if I notice that, I'm like, oop, probably not going to fist bump them. Probably not going to do the old shoulder shake there. I just probably won't, and, and sometimes it just kind of happens. Right. But so like the gifts part, like for some people receiving gifts is really low. And if receiving gifts is really high for you and you give somebody a gift and they're not like, oh my God, thank you so much. Thank you so much. It doesn't mean they don't appreciate it. Maybe it's just receiving gifts isn't a big deal for them, Like it doesn't mean that they don't care. It just means that it just didn't really register, but yet sometimes we perceive that as, oh, they don't appreciate me. No, they appreciate you. Maybe it's just a different way they appreciate you. Okay. So that's, so that love language assessment is a valuable way to really kind of know yourself. And is anybody in here, by show of hands, taken this already? You just took it? Cool. Again, cool. Anybody not taking it? Cool. All right. It's always fun for people that haven't taken it the first time to be like, oh, that makes sense. Was it different?
Mm-hmm.
Much?
I mean, I feel like it's just kind of more balanced. Like quality time and physical touch were like both 10s last time and now they're not.
Interesting. So, you may, again, as you mature, as things change, you may go up and down based on where you're at. So, so we'll take that test here in about 3 minutes. The last little session, guys, I know today was pretty much all kind of personal stuff and not a lot of business specifics, but one thing I do want to mention is on the business side for today is when you're transitioning, it's really important if you're transitioning campaigns, transitioning from one role to another role. Maybe you're in a kind of a leadership role now, whereas you were just kind of a representative. Maybe you're not in school and now you are in school. Anytime you transition, it is important to purposefully put yourself in a position of discomfort when you're new. Because the tendency is to try to do less, right? And I get it, right? It's one of those things where, like, for example, when somebody's new in any role, the tendency is to try to do less, right? It's like, okay, well, if I'm new in this role, I'm going to try to not do as much when I'm new, so that way I can kind of ease into it and figure things out. Unfortunately, it doesn't usually work that way. Most people learn by doing trial and error, right? You learn how to swim, right? Not by looking up online how to swim, not by jumping in a pool and just sitting there and hoping you figure it out, right? You learn by jumping in the water, seeing starting to paddle, starting to get yourself in there. Then you hold on to the ledge, you start getting things function, and you figure it out as you go, right? But you really got to jump in order to really truly figure it out. And so my best advice I can give you is, if it's your first week or two in school, get a demo booked up, even if it's just a virtual demo with a previous customer, but get in the groove of doing something so that way you break that kind of seal of, oh, I can't do this, right? Just like, when you're, and I do the same thing with all areas of your life. Anytime you take on a new topic, it's important to kind of put the things that matter to you into that topic, into that schedule, so that way it gets done, right? So with us, that means doing demos your first couple of weeks while you're at school to get into a rhythm of, hey, what can I do? Can I do 5? Can I do 10? Can I do 7? But if you do 1, you're probably not going to be like, oh man, I did 1. That's all I could probably do 20, right? You won't know if you can do 20 until you do 20, and then you're like, okay, maybe that is my number, right? That I can't do that many. And so get into the habit of doing stuff right away. It makes things go a lot smoother and a lot easier. Right? As a reminder, the things that we're going to be measuring during our Leadership Academy program, we're going to be measuring career sales. CPO always talks, so career sales matters. We're going to be measuring campaign sales. Okay, so what you're selling. We got a couple more weeks left of the summer campaign. A few of you guys are in the running for the scholarship. Let's finish strong. Okay? Many of you guys have won President's Club already, but if you haven't won President's Club, let's get President's Club. Let's get that thing knocked out. That's big. Okay? Some of you guys are almost at your next promotion, or you're on your way, or you need to sell a few more grand to hit campaign bonus or quantum bonus or monthly bonus or another bonus that you may have. Making sure you finish that out right. For some of you guys, it is your last week before you head away for school. So let's try to get in a couple more before you roll out. I know I know Nicole leaves tomorrow morning. I know you leave at 6:30 in the morning. I don't think you're going to do a demo tonight, but props to getting in those demos these last couple of days. Got up over dirty 30. It's pretty awesome. So getting in that extra stuff that you can before things transition. And if you haven't, or if you're not in that transition, looking at the schedule and authentically saying, okay, where can I squeeze some stuff in? Because once you get into the rhythm of doing something, you start realizing it's not as hard as you thought it was. Just like waking up early to go to the gym or going to the gym late at night. It may be tough the first time, but once you do it, you realize, oh, I can handle this. You're actually capable of a lot more than you realize that you are, or than you think you are. All right. So campaign sales, career sales, withholdings, startup. Let's keep those withholdings up. I know many of you guys submitted checks. Those are getting mailed up for you. So that's going to be showing up in your statements. So you're going to start to see those. They usually take a week to be able to get everything set up. So it'll probably show up for those that submitted checks and withholding stuff on next week's statements. So you'll see it there. And so that'll be built. We're going to be putting that on a standing spreadsheet during our Leadership Academy events that we're going to be running in September and October and November. So we're recognizing that. The race to get to $5,000 is real. How quickly can you get to $5,000? Then once you get to $5,000, how quickly can you get to $10,000? How much can you save and invest over the next year? That's going to be a positive, exciting challenge for those that are competitive. And then the other two things that we measure are going to be your skill set that we're going to work on. And starting at the September prep, we're going to be going over interview skills. So we're doing kind of these first couple of preps are going to be all about kind of, self-awareness, getting things ready, and then we get to there. And for our next level team, for those that have already run offices, the skills we're going to be working on are going to be on recruiting, sales, and development based on your experiences this summer. So after opening comments at TLAs at the big monthly preps, we're splitting it up. So we're going to have 2 completely separate meetings for you guys, which is going to be which I'm really excited about. It's going to be a little bit more work on my end, but I am fired up about doing that. So skill sets are going to be measured and tested. And then lastly is going to be your overall leadership score. And your leadership score is going to be a subjective one that I rank based on your ability to lead. And easiest way to help figure that out is going to be things like, how am I viewed outside of my own organization? What do people think about me? If somebody in the West Jacksonville or the East Jacksonville office was asked, hey, who is Alvin? Would they know who Alvin is, and what would they say about Alvin? If somebody from the Macon organization was asked, who Jacob is. Would they be like, which Jacob? Or would they be like, oh yeah, I know that Jacob? And would it be the one that they're thinking? Would it be you? Right? That's what, because there's many Jacobs. Would what would they say about you? Would people speak highly of you? Would people say, gosh, they're a badass? Would people say, man, they're a jerk, but I respect them, there's different forms of leadership, right? Would they say, who? Or would they be like, I can't stand that person, right? So working on yourself. And if you're not sure how you rate with that, we can have healthy conversations about that. We're also gonna have laser calls once a month with me. So quick laser calls. We're gonna get those in. But the next big monthly event is going to be on September 8th, and that's a Saturday. It's going to be from 10 to 3, guys. For those that are Zooming in virtually, as a reminder, for those that are more than like 3 hours away from a local office, you can virtually join in, and you'll be responsible for getting through opening comments, and then you'll have a week to send me your debrief notes from this. Okay, so for everybody else, guys, if you can make it to the pilot, that's amazing. It's my favorite time of the month where we get everybody together as a crew. We are planning on going out afterwards and doing stuff as a team. So it may be tailgating for a sporting event. It may be going and hanging, getting wings and water somewhere. But we'll have a good time at these little TLA get-togethers and meetings. So and then for everybody else, guys, you'll like I said, you'll have to give me your notes. So thank you for a great first prep. Make sure, so assignments for next time, it's pretty simple. Again, we're getting rolling with it, but it's still simple. So take the love languages test. If you've already taken it, or if you just taken it, screenshot it, put it in the WhatsApp, so that way everybody has it, and then send your takeaways from this meeting or from this note that you're excited about implementing, and then action steps that you're going to do. So takeaways and action steps from the event. Love language test, get it in there, and then I'll send you guys some stuff throughout the week, just school food for thought. If everybody is not on the WhatsApp yet, make sure to let your manager know so they can add you into the WhatsApp so you have access to information. If I need things, I'll send it via WhatsApp where you can access it either on your phone, or if you pull WhatsApp up on your computer, you can download files and stuff that I put in there to your laptop. Right? Well, gang, that's all I've got for you. Thanks for being on. Remember, no excuses, play like a champion. For those of you already off at school, remember to be a badass. For those of you that are here with us in person, we already know you're a badass, and we're gonna have some fun this fall. So thanks, guys. Post-tem takeaways.